So the new Little Mermaid, huh? She's a little dark. She's a little mysterious. Ooh, she's different. She's not like those other fishes. All right, I'm done. Hey dumpster divers, and welcome back to a new episode of I Don't Do Movie Reviews, so I'm in my car because I don't have a studio. You guys might hear some stuff in the background because the car is on, the AC is on, etc. You can see Hallie back here just enjoying the AC. So, because I don't do a lot of movie reviews, we're going to do a little bit of a disclaimer before I get into this. Disclaimer number one, there's going to be spoilers. The movie's been out for a week now. If by the time I posted this, it's on Friday. So we've had a week. Please do not watch this if you don't want anything to get ruined, and you can come back and watch it later. It's fine. Disclaimer number two, which this is weird because I don't usually do disclaimers. I'm not a movie person. I don't review movies. I don't necessarily care to sit down and watch movies for a really long time. And I'm not a movie bro. I'm not going to be one of those people that are like, oh, the cinematography and blah, blah. Like, fuck that. It's a movie. It's Disney. It's a joyless cash grab. Like, they were doing it to make money and bank off of our nostalgia, you know? Like, they're not doing it out of integrity. I'm pretty sure they're doing it so they can renew, like, all the stuff that's attached to the name via marketing and legal rights. Obviously, they really wanted this movie to do well. It is just being aggressively marketed, and I'm falling for it because if there's one thing to my core that I'm a hater, but next to that, I am a consumer and I'm a fan of The Little Mermaid. And as you guys know, I have been buying up everything left and right. Obviously, I've been buying the dolls. I am the doll daddy. Like, look at my tits. Do they lie? I mean, I shit you not. I have literal Little Mermaid spatulas right next to me. This loaf pan, I had to get it. It was only $5. There's an Ariel sleeping bag behind me. And look at this picture of me, little Jeffrey, hanging out with Ariel at Disney World. I mean, shit, I even have the Walmart exclusive movie soundtrack vinyl in between my ass cheeks right now. Just spinning around playing the songs. Part of your world. So, is this aggressive marketing strategy for Disney working? Kinda. It's got a 7 out of 10 out of IMDb, and it's got about a 68% on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, whether those are credible sources and they're not bought off. It was directed by Rob Marshall, who did Chicago and Memoirs of a Geisha, so take with that what you will. And the budget was about $250 million, which is insane. And so far over the Memorial Day weekend, it's made $209 million, so it's almost made back its whatever, and those are global box office sales. So the movie starts off with all of this B-roll footage of the waves crashing and everything, and then there's a Hans Christian Andersen quote, which, if you don't know, Hans Christian Andersen is the one who wrote the original Little Mermaid book forever ago. And we all know that it's basically like a gay allegory story about unrequited love. He told his one male friend that he was in love with him. The love wasn't returned, and he wrote The Little Mermaid. But a mermaid has no tears, and therefore she suffers so much more.
Depressing.
So first off, with this movie, I've noticed that Disney, oh my god, in their live action movies, do they love a fucking British accent? Like, remember when they gave Belle, the French princess, a British accent because apparently they didn't want Emma Watson doing anything else. Is it Emma Watson? Emma Roberts?
M&M's?
The Hermione girl from Harry Potter. Also, I've been watching some other reviews to get prepared for this, and usually I don't watch other people's reviews because I don't want them influencing my opinions or anything. But I've noticed with Scuttle, everybody's kind of bitching about now that it's a bird that can go underwater and is able to breathe and talk underwater, and I'm like, it's a talking fucking bird from Disney. Them changing Scuttle was the least of my concerns. There is something that Scuttle does that's absolutely awful in this movie, but we'll talk about it later because I'm not ready yet. The actor who plays King Triton, Javier Bardem, his performance is dismal. I don't know quite the right word for it. The acting, he is so high. He just is so, I don't know if he's trying to be an aloof father or what, but it's just coming off like he's high as shit and just doesn't care about the role, basically. It wasn't my favorite as far as acting goes, and the dialogue was just often rough or forced, and it just felt like out of place. I don't know. It was weird. It was weird the way he was doing it. I'm sure he's a great actor usually, but like in this role, it just wasn't hitting me right. But hey, you know, he's Daddy. And then of course we have Daddy Triton.
Hey, Daddy.
Ew.
So the sisters, they are mentioned an awful lot in this movie. They're shown quite a few times, and the whole thing with them is that they are coming to visit King Triton and Ariel in their part of the seas because the coral moon is approaching. Like, everybody talks about the coral moon. The humans on Prince Eric's ship, when they're celebrating his birthday, are talking about the coral moon. Everybody under the sea is talking about the coral moon, and then we never see it. We never get to see this coral moon event where everybody's coming, and all the sisters, if you don't know, they represent these other seas, and they take care of kingdoms in those seas. And so they come to visit for events like this. And because of the coral moon thing, we didn't get the song "We Are the Daughters of Triton" or anything. And for what? I would have liked to have seen what this coral moon theme party was, etc. Because the movie's like 2.5 hours long, and they took out so much stuff from the original. I don't know how we got that 2.5 hours. Also, I think all the sisters are supposed to have like special abilities. They all represent these different seas from around the world and everything. Also, all the sisters are different ethnicities and everything, and it kind of just reminds me of like the live action Cinderella with Brandy. It didn't need to be explained. We just accepted it, and everybody was better for it. I think like Ariel's ability, because they mentioned it like once in the movie, like her song is supposed to be healing. Like, it brought Eric back to life basically, and because obviously she's a mermaid, she doesn't know CPR, but she knows how to sing. All the sisters are like represented in this book, The Little Mermaid and The Guide to Merfolk, and you can see all the sisters are featured here. And it just gives you like some really good information on them. One of the first sisters is Mala, and she is from the Chain Sea, and she kind of like rules her kingdom with like a sense of humor, but she's like fierce and everything, and she is too. She's one of the prettiest looking of the sisters. I love her so much, and that's just kind of her whole spiel. And then we have Tamika from the Fracas Sea, and she kind of represents like physical strength. Like, she wrestled with a tiger shark and won, etc. Like, that's how she rules her kingdom, is with an iron fist. Karina of the Saith Sea, she rules with like strong intuition. Like, she just really knows what she's doing. She's strong of convictions. Indira from the Brine Dive Sea, she rules with empathy and kindness and understanding and everything, and she's one of the really like the prettier sisters too. And then we have Caspia of the Apneic Sea, and she rules with like selflessness. Like, she's a sacrificer. Like, she'll do what she can to get her kingdom going, and that's really cool. Perla is from the Triton Sea, and she's a charmer. She's full of warmth and kindness, and that's how she kind of rules. Like, she used her charm to convince a bunch of hungry orcas not to eat seals or otters, something like that. And then Ariel is from the Carinae Sea, and she's the youngest and the most sensitive, and she has her healing voice. And the reason I brought that up is because the significance the sisters are being used in the marketing and supposed to be in the plot and everything, they never mention this ever. There's so much world building around these sisters, and the movie never even talks on it. And the only reason I know any of that is from this book. And fun enough, this was the very first piece of live action Little Mermaid merch that I got. There is this dynamic between Scuttle and Sebastian that I don't find funny. It's supposed to be like comic relief, and it just comes off as like mean. It just reminds me of like that one gay friend and their cisgendered straight woman friend, where they're like, oh no, it's fun because like we're besties, but really it's just coming off like you're just being a fucking bitch to your friend. And that's kind of like how Sebastian and Scuttle play off, and I'm not really into it, which sucks because they're like 90% of the humor in this movie, and then like some of the stuff that like Ursula does is funny too.
Are you sure about that?
And oh my god, thank goodness, because you couldn't really see it in like the trailers or anything, but thank god that like Hallie and Jonah Howard King, thank Neptune, they have like some fucking chemistry, because oh my god, it would have been so much worse if they didn't. Like, I swear Belle and like the Beast in the live action Disney, like no chemistry, nothing at all. It just felt so forced. And at least like in this, the live action Little Mermaid, at least like it's forced a little bit because like the pacing's really off and they're a little too tethered to the original source material and stuff. But if you get rid of the pacing, there's some good chemistry here. It really shows up in the kiss the girl scene, and it's just nice to see for once. Also, as I used in my thumbnail and everything, and as a lot of people have been bitching about on the internet, that the movie is too dark. And I've seen that, but it's usually when it's like a dramatic scene or a scene where it like physically makes sense for it to be that dark. Because if you're doing like the part of your world scene, obviously that's at night, she's in her grotto, it's gonna be dark. Or when she goes to see Ursula and she's giving up her voice for like, it's gonna be dark. When you're going to the kingdom, it's always bright. When she's like out exploring the ocean, it's bright. When they're doing the under the sea song scenes, those are all super bright and beautiful. Like, people didn't know what they were talking about, and I'm hoping after they see the movie they realize, like, oh yeah, no, it makes sense, it's under fucking water. And inside of the under the sea, like, obviously it's heavily CGI'd, which it needs to be to make that stuff happen. Obviously, even Disney with all their money can't train a bunch of sea stars to go spin around in the ocean to the like tempo of the music, you know? I get it. It's heavily CGI'd. You really see it there. Sometimes the CGI is so seamless and beautiful, and sometimes you really notice it. It's just, it is what it is. It's a live action movie. There's going to be a shit ton of CGI. The only place where the CGI like really, really hurt, like it was hard to watch, and I'm so glad I'm like too poor to afford like 4DX Max tickets or anything, because I would have thrown up, is when they drop the spyglass and it's like going through all the coral and they're doing like a shit ton of spinning and CG. Ow. Like, ow. It was hard to watch in my cheap ass podunky Idaho theater. I can't imagine what it would have been like in 4D Max. All of that being said, obviously Halle Bailey is Ariel. She is so beautiful. Her voice is amazing. She sounds like Jodie Benson. Like, she is so Ariel. Like, she wears the CGI well, she wears the hair well, like the tail, the color scheme, everything. Like, she works. Obviously she auditioned for the part. She did an amazing job. Her voice was amazing. Nobody could be as good of a singer as her. And that's the thing, Halle is very much a singer first and actor second, and that kind of shows out throughout the movie, but she still plays Ariel very well. You kind of see it. Like, I don't think this is necessarily Halle's fault as much as it's the direction and everything, but in the part of your world scene, Halle is singing her fucking heart out. Like, she's doing such an amazing job, but it is so slow paced because she's literally either laying down or sitting for like half of that song. She's not moving around as much as Ariel did. And when you're in like the stagnant kind of scene setting where you're inside of a grotto, Ariel in the 1989, she was swimming around doing stuff, being playful and fun, and like touching flounders fins and stuff. I would have liked to see that more in this performance and everything, because obviously Halle, while she's doing all that stuff, she's not actually singing, she's just lip syncing, so she could have got away with moving around a lot more, and it just kind of really like halted the movie and just made it kind of stagnant. But she did an amazing job, and it was very beautiful. Also, I've noticed Halle, when she is conveying emotion while singing, she loves to shake. She just shakes a lot. Watching, you'll see. Someday when she does the Part of Your World reprise on the rock and everything, she is shaking the entire time. And it's not because she's cold. Like, they film those scenes in very much warm water with a bunch of green screens and inside of a tank. She's not out in the ocean on a rock. Like, it's all CGI. She's fine. It just must have been like either like a choice that she made as Ariel, and that she has to shake while she's conveying emotion, or maybe it's just something she really does while she's singing, and there wasn't much they can do because you're getting that amazing voice, but this is kind of the physicality of it, you know? I don't know. It's just a quirk I noticed. It's not a bad thing, it's just a thing. And then when we're talking about songs, oh my god, Prince Eric has this song that also stops the movie like dead in its tracks. It's not good. I understand why they put it in, but it's rough, and it's weird the way he's just like walking around kind of throwing like a teenager Prince fit. And any of the new songs, they're a little rough. Like, I'm just not super into them. I don't think they match like the Alan Menken-ness of it or anything. Like, those were amazing. Those songs fit. These songs, the new ones, they're rough, and I just No. I'm sure on their own they're fine, but in the movie and the context, it was just not my favorite. Same with Ariel's song when after she lost her voice and she's singing like for the first time or whatever. It sounds fine. It sounds like a Broadway song. Like, it's not bad. It's just, it still just wasn't it for me. But like, I'm glad they gave Ariel another song, because as huge of a fan as I am of Ariel, she's been a part of my entire life because the movie came out like 2 years before I was born. I love her. Like, but the movie, the original movie, I never super duper liked the songs. I always thought the Pocahontas songs were better, but I am glad that they gave Halle and Ariel another song, because I always thought it was weird that they're like, this is Ariel, this is her voice, this is amazing, and they give her like one song in the entire movie, you know? Like, I understand she gives up her voice for like the latter half of the movie, but the live action movie found a way to sneak it in, so the cartoon could have too. I love that they let Jodie Benson have like a little cameo in the movie and everything, and like hand off the dingle hopper to Halle, even though she ended up putting it right back down on the counter and everything. But it was like a cute little moment, and it was fun to see the two interact in the movie, and not just when they were doing the premiere and they were wearing those beautiful dresses. Going back, there is so much mention and showing of death in this PG rated children's movie, which I know, like, I'm an adult and I can handle it, but like, oh my god, is there so much mention of death and showing of it. Obviously, Ursula eating that shrimp that's like begging for its life and screeching, that was in the original. It was a little weird to see in live action though. Like, it was a little maybe the words unsettling just wasn't my favorite. Obviously, Flotsam and Jetsam died in the original, and they died in this one too. Basically the same way. Ursula dies the same way, you know, she gets stabbed in the guts and everything, and it's a very dramatic villain death, but that's pretty common in a Disney movie. But they also kill off a main character, which we'll talk about later, which was like, okay, for what? They show like a merman skeleton. They're constantly talking about how like mermaids go around like killing humans go around killing mermaids. Like, there's just a lot of fucking death. So it was a little emo and a little dramatic, but it's just something I noticed. Also, Ariel has to make a blood sacrifice in the movie. Didn't have to in the cartoon. So it's just kind of weird. She has to like rip off a scale, put it in, and there's blood and everything. And it's not like a lot, but it's just like a weird little thing. And then while that's all happening, like, Ursula's creating like her human spell and everything and doing the Poor Unfortunate Souls song. And then she adds like this weird clause into the spell where it's like Ariel, for the 3 days, she's not supposed to remember that she's supposed to get kissed by Eric, but then she, like, they mention it like 50 times in the movie, and then it just never plays off because obviously, like, Sebastian knows, Flounder, Scuttle, everybody knows, like, and, you know, eventually they kiss, and Ariel beats the shit out of Vanessa, and I think it's fucking badass.
Oh, bitch, you got me fucked up. Bitch, I'm in your shit, bitch, 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 bitch.
And then, with how dark I was talking about the movie gets, when Ursula turns into a giant, like, Ursula monster, oh my god, does she look dead and demonic. It is, like, horror. Not like, oh, that's kind of creepy. It looks like a fucking horror scene, dude. And, like, that's the part where, like, I was like, wow, okay. Children are going to be terrified by this. And if I were watching this back in the day, like I used to watch the other Little Mermaid, I would have had nightmares for, like, a week. It is so demonic and so scary, and I'm so glad that that scene goes really quick and they kill her off, because holy shit. And all this obsession with, like, death and darkness translates to Ariel being an absolute fucking menace when she is on land. Oh my god. If she's not, like, about to kill pedestrians, she's about to run over a shit ton of goats, dude. Like, and they're, like, trying to play that off like, oh, she's having fun, she's exploring the human world. But the whole time I'm just like, Ariel, you're a menace. She's out there, like, eating soap and, like, knocking people over, leaving water everywhere so people slip. Like, she's fallen, like, she's a menace. She's a menace to society, and I love her for it. But they allow the movie to be able to breathe and not take itself as seriously. They play with humor, or at least try to. The only thing they really do is, like, really tether themselves to, like, the original a lot, and they redo some of the lines, like, a little worse than, like, if they would have just said them verbatim. But other than that, it's really fun, and they allow themselves to have fun with it, and I appreciate that a lot. Because if you're a live action Disney remake and you're verbatim, it's probably not going to be as good. And if you take it way too seriously, you need to understand that it's a little cheesy that you're doing this in the first place. Because a lot of these scenes, because of, like, the CGI, because of the actors just, like, The acting in this is not the best throughout. I'll just tell you that right now. But like, because of that, it's just good to kind of lean into the cheese, because a lot of the stuff doesn't translate well into live action, especially if all you're doing is a green screen and editing in a bunch of pixels later, you know? The kiss the girl scene was fantastic. This is where we really get to see like the chemistry between Ariel and Eric. It just really goes good because, like I said, the pacing in this is so weird. The dialogue is often brushed over, and like they heavily rely on the fact that we've seen the original to kind of get away with like this weird pacing in the movie where things just seem a little quick and a little forced. So seeing this and everything, it just really helps solidify their relationship, and I really like it. It looks pretty in CGI. The singing looks really good, or the singing sounds really good, and it just plays around and you just have a lot of fun with it. After the kiss the girl scene, there's this cute little scene where like Eric and Ariel are in the boat, and Ariel's trying to get Eric to know her name, and they're talking about the constellations in the sky, and he points to Aries. And as an Aries, I felt like this was a very significant moment for me, and as an Aries, I made it all about me. They're talking Aries, and then Ariel like messes with Eric's lips until he says Ariel, and it's just a really cute way they kind of put that in. Shows like a fun little cute moment and solidifies the chemistry even more. So I appreciated it. And then we have probably one of the worst things that happened in this entire movie. There is this song called Scuttlebutt, and oh my god, it did not need to be in. And if I were Lin-Manuel Miranda, like obviously not everything he makes can be like a hit. Like it's just a product of like whatever. That's a lot of pressure to put on somebody, that every song they make has to be amazing all the time. But oh my god, what was this? And like not only that, but it got recorded, edited, approved by people, ran through and everything, and they were still like, yeah, no, this is a good idea. And it's literally just to push the plot forward and be like, oh, Eric's gonna get engaged to somebody, and then that's how they introduce Vanessa. And Vanessa's a badass bitch, so why are you introducing her with like the worst song you could have put in this whole goddamn movie? Luckily, I've seen this movie a couple times now. Luckily, the second time I watched it, I mateyed it, so I was able to fast forward through that part, and thank goodness, because I am convinced that literally saved years of my life. Also, once again, huge spoiler, like I said, they killed off a main character. So Ursula kills Triton. I don't know. In the original, he just gets shrunken down to one of those little like seaweed guys. But in this one, they have to kill him for some reason, and they try to make it like this big emotional payoff. But because, like I said, the dialogue's shit and the pacing shit, there's just not a lot of emotion when he dies. I was just more like, wait, what the fuck? Why'd they kill him? Like, that just seems ridiculous. And then like 2 minutes later, they just undo everything anyway. Ariel's supposed to have like this big emotional thing where she's like, oh no, my selfish actions have made it so my father dies or whatever. But like, they never set up their relationship that well, because the dialogue between them is so awkward. So like, there's supposed to be this big emotional payoff, but it just doesn't work. Like Ariel, she's like sad about it for like a second, then she goes back to caring about Eric, gets that all taken care of, they kill Ursula, and then bam, King Triton's back, everything's good, blah blah blah. And honestly, I don't even know why they brought King Triton back, because he committed one of the biggest sins of all. Like, kinda. I guess it's not King Triton's fault, it's the way this movie was edited and directed. So King Triton, he turns Ariel back into a human, but they skip over the transformation scene entirely. They like hint at it, like he does the whole thing where his like Triton touches the water and it shoots some like gold piss that's sparkling up to Ariel, and she turns into a human or whatever, all off screen. You never see any of it. She doesn't come back in like her transformation outfit or anything. She just comes back in the blue dress, and she meets Eric at the top of the stairs and like hangs out with Max. That's it. And then after that, they like get married off screen too. You don't get to see any of that. And then they go on these adventures, and then that's when Ariel finally wears her third outfit of the whole movie. That's it. Ariel only has like 3 outfits, because I don't really count that tarp they put her in, because they barely even show it. So she has her mermaid outfit, her blue dress, and her pink dress. That's it. I feel like that was such a mistake from marketing. Do you know how many dolls I would have bought if you would have done the transformation Ariel when she's walking out of the ocean in like her goddess dress or whatever? Would have loved it. Would have loved an wedding dress Ariel, all that stuff. Which I understand, like, they're trying to like step away from like the marriage and like the independence thing, which I love. I do. I just would have liked more outfits because I'm a consumer whore. And then, yeah, that's just kind of how it ends. Like, they go off on their adventure. They leave it open for maybe like a sequel if they wanted to. I doubt they will. Disney kind of treats these live actions as like a one-shot thing. They like do some marketing for it, they spit it out, and then they never touch it again, you know? Like, and it's kind of sad. I would have liked even more merch than what I'm already getting from Ariel. But we'll see. Elephant in the room. I don't doubt that there are people that are upset about the casting. Like I said, Halle is Ariel. She did the best job. She auditioned. Her voice is amazing. I don't doubt that people are upset. I don't doubt that there's a bunch of fucking racist asshole piece of shits out there that are upset about this casting. But I'm pretty sure they're just a very loud minority. I'm sure the majority of people actually like the movie and everything. And that's the thing with the ratings and everything. Usually if you like something, you're not going to go rate it as hard as if you're mad about it or upset or whatever, just being a racist piece of shit. There is nuance though. You can dislike this movie without being like a racist, but you need to have your valid points for why you don't like it. And not liking the movie is a valid point. But not liking the movie because of how, you know, like whatever. Like, there's validity in not liking this. I love it. I'm happy with it, but I get it. Like I said, there is nuance. Like, people are allowed to not like this and people are allowed to like this. By far, this is my favorite of the live action movies. I think it's the best one. I think they took it a little more seriously. They had a little bit more fun with it, etc. The other one seemed more like joyless cash grabs. This one seemed like a semi-joyful cash grab. So there's that. So I give it 4 out of 5 nostalgia boners. Like, it's good. It wasn't amazing, but I like it overall. I'm having fun with it. I didn't cry when I watched it or anything. I wasn't super emotional, but I like it, and I'm a nostalgia whore, and it worked for me. Also, yeah, Ariel kills Ursula. Big fucking whoop. Rah feminism. I'm all here for it. And it's not like Eric didn't have his hero moments too. Like when he saved Ariel, when he drew blood on Ursula's arm after harpooning her and stuff. Like, Ariel's allowed to be a strong, independent woman, and it's okay to have those kind of things and still go after her man. I don't know. That's like incel behavior to be upset that like Ariel killed Ursula in this. Get the fuck over it. Women can be strong and still be feminine and have fun. And obviously I've been buying up merch left and right. I've been having a lot of fun with all the merchandise. As a consumer whore, this hits me to my core, and I'm glad Disney is like, there's literally like deodorant that I want to buy because it has Ariel's face on it. Like, I'm not fucking around. I bought the cereal, everything. Like, I am so into this. I'm having so much fun. But let me know what you guys thought about the movie, or if you even want to see it, or if you're just going to wait until it comes out on Disney Plus because you don't want to go to a movie theater, because I didn't. Like I said, I was afraid to go to a movie theater, but I did it and I survived. Alright guys, I will see you in my next episode where I end up trading my legs for a tail, but I keep the dick because I'm gonna fuck around with that really hot merman in the end scene. Wah, I'm upset that they had the best person who auditioned get the role. How would you like it if we swapped Tiana? Shut the fuck up. Also, controversial opinion. I don't really care what Flounder looked like. I thought he looked cute. Sebastian looked great too. And Scuttle.